Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Guys, what a 24 hours it has been. I have been glued to the charts for 24 hours now, and thought I'd just make a video where we're going to ask and hopefully answer the question, are we now in a bear market? Lots of people always message me on days like this. We're going to really take a look at some on-chain and off-chain data, perhaps, to kind of dictate how we answer this. Now, first of all, what is a bear market? Well, a bear market essentially is determined by a downtrending market with a very negative sentiment attached to it. You certainly have that now on the short term. So you could argue you are in a bear market. However, and this is something that I really want to point out to you guys, I am still bullish on Bitcoin. Because if we look at a logarithmic scale for Bitcoin, and we look at its overall trend, that is an uptrending market with, I would say, a very positive statement attached to it, guys. So I would say we're in a bull market, a macro bull market with various, pullbacks essentially on a macro sort of scale. So that is really how I'm looking at this dip right now. I'm looking at it as a pullback. We're going to look at a number of things in this video. So the short answer to that really is, on a shorter term time frame, you could say you're in a bear market, yes. But you're in a bear market that's in a bull market, if that makes sense. We're going to look at a number of things in this video. I'm going to be bringing up, because we're going to be looking at 2013, which was, I used to show this chart to you guys all the time when we used to look at things like Amazon, and this essentially is the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory chart that I used to show you, where I've color coordinated in a kind of traffic light system the Bitcoin 4-year cycles and how they go. So the cycle we're currently in started in 2018, the one prior to that started in 2014 and finished up in our epic bull market of 2017, and then so on and so forth. What I want to really point out to you guys is the standard that we kind of weigh up a bull market on now is 2017, where we only really ever had dips that were, 43, 44% in severity. However, the bull market prior to that, guys, and we can all kind of agree, or certainly I'd like to think we could agree, was 2013, where we essentially, we had a 6% dip during there. Now, would you have said you were in a bear market here, even though you essentially went on to, do another 1,800% in terms of a move? Would you have said that 2013 was a bull or bear market? I would have said it was a bull market with a pullback, even though the pullback was as severe as 75%. So what really determines whether we are in a bull or a bear market, guys, is how long this goes on for, how long this sell-off, and you are downtrending, there's no getting away for that, until we break above some sort of resistance levels. You are downtrending, and you could say you're in a short-term bear market inside of a bull market. So I think this is important to remember. I also want to point out a number of things to you guys. This is from Raoul Pal. While we are all enjoying volatility, actually I'm quite impressed how people are taking it as part of the course and aren't overly freaking out. Here is what we are actually investing in: the fastest rate of adoption of any technology in history. Volatility is just noise. The adoption of Bitcoin has significantly outperformed the internet. Now, that is crazy. We know we live in different times, though, however, because of the internet, things are more accessible. You can get involved with things easier. This is another thing from Anthony Pompliano, who is essentially a Bitcoin ambassador. Imagine back in November when Bitcoin was $10,000, if someone had told you Bitcoin has crashed to $30,000 and everyone is scared. That really puts things into perspective, guys, because it wasn't that long ago that Bitcoin was at $10,000, guys. It really wasn't. Bitcoin's come a hell of a long way. It's just that, right now we're having a bit of a sell-off, and people are really saying, look, we're in a bear market right now due to the fact that the sell-off has been as severe as it has been. And what they're comparing this sell-off to is 2017. They're not looking at 2013, they're looking at 2017, where a sell-off of this magnitude, I think we're at 55%-ish now, is unorthodox. However, in 2017, you didn't have the leverage in the system. Each bull market and each sort of end phase of the 4-year cycle theory is going to look different. There are a number of differences, like a diminishing return, etc., etc., and they're all going to have their own sort of characteristics. And I do still strongly believe, and I'm not just saying this for the sake of the YouTube video, that you are in a bull market. when you really put things into perspective, the crypto space has done a hell of a lot in a very short period of time and could have perhaps got too overextended. You know, we were catching up to levels in our previous cycle. We know where there is sort of a law of diminishing returns associated with something getting bigger and needing more momentum to move it. So I do still believe in the crypto space. Also, we used to show this when we really started showing Amazon was when Bitcoin was still hadn't even made its all-time highs yet. Or 2017 all-time highs, because the charts are identical, guys. If we take it off a logarithmic, the charts are exceptionally similar. You know, Bitcoin and Amazon were very similar, and what they both are is emerging markets that have new technologies associated with them. So blockchain for Bitcoin, the internet for Amazon. Cryptocurrencies and the dot-com stocks are very comparable in that manner, and so is the technologies, the internet and blockchain in their revolutionary aspect. What did we know about Amazon? Well, Amazon was very volatile as it was an emerging market. You know, in Amazon you had, here you've got a 68% sell-off, guys. And look at what it did after. So the only way you're going to really be able to tell with any kind of a definitive, short term you could say you are in a bear market. However, this could change just as easy as up here. People were saying we're in a bull market. So you can't really say too much. I think when we're talking macro, when we're talking the big time frames, you're in a continued bull market. It's a macro bull, Bitcoin. And it's important for me to stress that to people because people get so scared. I mean, today has been a brutal day. There is absolutely no getting around that. But we're already seeing strength. We're already seeing buyers coming in. Look at the wicks, guys. And this range here, now you guys know that I said, look, I don't think Bitcoin's going to get any lower than this. This is the bottom. But if it does, it's going to go marginally low. It's not going to go down by a lot lower than that. Because we've seen, and what these wicks, these kind of hammers really indicate is that there are buyers coming in. The fundamentals for Bitcoin have never been so strong, regardless of the manipulation and volatility that's taking place. Lots of people looking at the Wyckoff accumulation structure and saying, yeah, that's literally taking place now. And we know that the people that Wyckoff spoke about and created this kind of system of identifying them with are here because we saw that in Wyckoff distribution at the top of this. It would make sense that Wyckoff accumulation is in. You could be at that spring test moment ready to continue. I still think this market is going to recover, guys. And I think the bear or bull market question isn't one that can be definitively answered just yet. I think you can definitely say short term we're in a bearish trend, but are you really in a bear market? In 2013, were you in a bear market or were you in a bull market? You were in a bull market, even though you had a 70% sell-off, which really was just a pullback. So there's a lot going on here, guys, and people get really, really emotional and upset on days like this. Just remember something, it's just money and you haven't made or lost anything until you've sold. That works for both the flip side and the downside. Let's take a look at the RSI, because this was an indicator that kind of helped us to suggest that we had bottomed, because we went under this 30 mark, and we said traditionally, you go under that 30 mark like you did back in March 2020, that is going to lead to a recovery. We still think that. You're having a bit of a pullback now that is largely based on China banning any kind of interaction with Bitcoin. Well, why are they doing that? Well, they're coming up with their digital yuan. They have a vested interest, and traditionally they just take out competition. They don't try and compete with them. They just take it out. That's what we're seeing. In the grand scheme of things, miners having an exodus from China is a good thing, because it's going to lead to cleaner energy use in order to mine Bitcoin. We know that China's very heavy on coal and stuff like that. We also know that it's going to help to decentralize the hash rate for Bitcoin, as we know that a large part of the hash rate was directly centered in nearly 50%, I think, or certainly the hash rate dropped at one point by close to 50%. So the point that I'm trying to make, guys, and hopefully I'm showing you that, and we're going to do a little bit more cycle analysis, because Bitcoin does work in a 4-year cycle theory. That's true to this day. And all bull markets are going to look different. They can't look the same, or it would be too easy, guys. Especially now in a day like in the kind of time period that we're in. You know, nobody predicted March 2020 and what was going to happen there. There's going to be absolutely different, traits, like the fact that they printed so much money and inflated everything. This has had an effect on Bitcoin. There is so much going on, and one real argument is we did get very overextended from our sort of EMA, and Bitcoin kind of ran away with itself. What comes up must come down. You are going to have an equilibrium, but I do believe you're going to continue in this bull market, guys. And I think we are still in a bull market, even though we are short-term bearish. And until Bitcoin, and you are bearish on the short term, until Bitcoin breaks out of this descending resistance that it's in, you're going to continue to go lower until you don't. This is how markets work, guys. You're going to pop above it one day, and then you're going to start to test it as support. You're going to support and resistance flip, and you're going to continue your way out of it. This is how it goes. And the structure that Bitcoin's making doesn't look like a structure that's setting up for a real volatile move to the downside, more than it already has. These one, when you kind of rising up, here you look more like you're bottoming out to me. So we'll see what happens, guys. This is all just my opinion, and none of this is financial advice. I'm just sharing it with you, but I ultimately do believe that, you know, there's greener pastures on the horizon, and it's right now where you make your money. On days like this is where you make your money. Bitcoin could absolutely continue to sell off and go down to that 20k range, but we'll have to wait and see. Nobody's going to be able to predict that with 100% accuracy. Yes, you can take your bets, but we'll see. And even if it does, in the grand scheme of things, when you look at where Bitcoin was in March 2020, around about 3k, I think it got down to, and where it is now, you've come a long way and you've done a lot, guys. So that is really all I have for you in this video. We know there's a number of other factors, like the dollar getting a little bit stronger based on some speculation on interest rates perhaps going up, and them trying to sort of cull inflation and keep a lid on it, which they inevitably have already lost control over and not going to be able to do at this point. So we'll see what happens, guys. That's all I have for you in this video. So the answer is to, are we in a bear market? Short term, we are in a bear trend. But are we in a bear or bull market? I would still bias towards we're in a bull market with bearish action. And these are really perhaps going to look like pullbacks the same way this did in the grand scheme of things. All I have for you in this video, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to love and leave you on that note. I hope everyone's having a fantastic Tuesday despite what the markets are doing. And I will hopefully see you all in the next YouTube video. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.